Welcome to the OhSoSpurs podcast. We have a victory in Europe, an away victory in Europe, and that is no small feat these days. Random stat, I think I saw 4 of the 5 teams playing in Europe in the Champions League lost away from home, and Ange made the point about how difficult they are, but Spurs came out victorious despite being depleted. So a big win, really, really happy about that. But today is about Leicester City and the Premier League. We've got a huge game coming up. It's an opportunity, dare I say it, guys, because it's a game playing a team that's lost 7 games on the bounce in the league. But we're going to dive into that. But first, quick introduction. Quick introduction before we start cursing our chances. We have Johnny. He's weathering a storm, quite literally, in Dublin. How are you, Johnny?
I've not left the house because it sounded really bad. And I watched the news. But the thing is, whenever the people are talking about what their experience of the symptoms of the storm, it's like, we heard our windows rattling. And I'm sorry if there's anyone out there who's I don't know, it's like stuff might have happened. Probably did. So I don't want to belittle it for people. But from my point of view, all good because I just stayed indoors. But it did sound quite funny the way
we're at that age now.
Report these things. It is funny because it was a proper storm, in fairness. Oh, yeah, too right. And my dad is sending me all these messages about staying safe and boiling the kettle and everything. Thinking, I hadn't thought of that. But yeah, they're still in one piece. Just hanging in a bit like the Tottenham squad.
Your garden house is in next door's garden, I assume. But apart from that,
a few trampolines flying around, yeah.
Yeah. And we have Sai in a slightly less blustery Basel. How are you, Sai?
Definitely a little bit less blustery. I hope I don't get caught up in the tail end of that storm flying over this weekend. But hopefully we'll get out there and get over for the game that we're just about to talk about.
Well, I'm about to fly back from Vegas, and I'm told, thanks to the heavy winds, we'll get back an hour earlier. But I'm a pretty nervous flyer, so not particularly looking forward to the bumps along the way, I'm sure. But there you go. But yeah, guys, we feel like we got much needed uplift. Really liked Madison's interview as well after the game, where he summarised how all the players appreciate the wider situation the manager's under and how great these young players have been to step up, and 2 links to new signings as well. Bobby from Ajax,
Robbie,
Mr.
Brobby,
Robbie, not Bobby. Bobby,
Mr.
as you can tell, we've done our research.
It's just a wind-up, isn't it? It's got to be a wind-up, Mr. Brobby. Oh my goodness.
We've got Mr. Blobby joining Spurs potentially.
Noel Edmonds as manager.
Noel Edmonds as manager.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm going
to have to Google these jokes again, guys. You're way before my time.
Well, it fits our demographic, Jim. You're not part of our growing demographic, so to all the old boys out there,
leave it to us.
You know Noel Edmonds and Mr. Brobby, so get on board.
Oh, I'm in with your generation. Exactly. I'm not doing all this TikTok and all that stuff.
Tickety-tock.
With my peers are doing tickety-tocketing.
So I shared a TikTok link yesterday. I was thinking, what on earth is going on here?
Tried to open it.
I'm all over it, mate. I can't stop. I go down the TikTok wormhole at least once a day.
Wormhole.
Very good. Not the only wormhole, but we won't go there today. So, yeah, Sai is in non-blustery Basel. We're signing Mr. Blobby. And we're also linked heavily to the Southampton right winger. Oh my gosh, I'm having a massive mind blank on his name, guys. Help me.
Oh, it's a really hard word to say.
Do you know what? My gosh, we're of that age where things just go as well, Jim.
But we look set to sign 2 injured players. So it's 2 new injuries to the Rooster.
To the Rooster?
Deej isn't here. Right, we're going off topic. We haven't even gotten to Leicester yet, and we're nearly 5 minutes in. But yeah, Leicester, they've lost 7 games on the bounce.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear this Dr. T stuff. They've got inner fightings going on, apparently. There's a lot of unrest there. We're not playing them on a new manager bounce, so there's much to be, to look forward to. But no game's going to be easy for us guys at the moment when you're playing so many players out of position. It's also a great opportunity because I'm sure we might even see a couple of more academy boys come on. It was great to see, pronounce his name, Lisi.
Apparently did well, right?
He looked really, really good, really sharp.
Yeah.
So that's exciting too. You might see someone like him come on because they've got a few injuries in midfield. Doesn't sound like Sarr's quite ready yet. Bissouma won't be ready. So
Yeah.
yeah. And the only fear I have is Jamie Vardy is fit, and we are his cup final. He absolutely loves a game against Spurs.
He does.
But look, much to be excited about. But the game itself, guys, how are you feeling about it? You'll both be there, right? I have to miss this one, but you going there with a glass half full, expecting a mighty Tottenham Hotspur to increase their ridiculously good goal difference for a side 15th in the table and all but secure safety. Dare I say it, a bit tongue in cheek there.
I'll hop in because that's a nice, easy question to answer. And I would say, yeah, I am. I am going to have glass half full for sure. And I think I've seen a bit of the Ange presser from this morning. Haven't seen the whole thing yet, but his demeanor is like as ridiculous what a win can do for anybody. And boy, Ange needed that badly. Incredible how you've still got vast swathes of the fan base wanting to propel a different narrative. I don't get it. Like, looking at what we have and to get a win is just the only thing that matters as far as I'm concerned. And there's so many mitigating circumstances. And obviously Ange has I think he's done a great job with the resources available, and it's not going to be any easier on Sunday. Obviously Leicester haven't had a game midweek. So it's going to be really challenging. I know, but there's might be people shouting at the screen saying, hang on a minute, like however many games in a row they've lost. But the Premier League team, as you said, this is, and as I said about Vardy, this is a fixture which has got a bit of needle for both sides, probably going back to 2016 for sure. I think for all of us, Leicester have a sort of disproportionate level of kind of reaction caused as a Spurs fan from what happened 9 years ago. But it's one of those games, isn't it? One of those fixtures where there's so many goals in this fixture. You get like 6-4s and 5-2s and things like that. Like, I would not be surprised if that happened again on Sunday. So yeah, I am optimistic. I'm hopeful. You have to be, don't you? I mean, that's our job as fans going into the game. Got the win behind us. Got the other boys on the horizon coming back. They're not quite ready yet. It's going to be really hard. And we have to be prepared for every eventuality and not lose our what. But yeah, I am positive. I think we will win. I think we could win really handy if we get a start like we had yesterday. But it's all in the lap of the gods. But I think it'll be entertaining. There'll be a lot of goals. It'll probably be one where you need the pacemaker to kick in, I'd say, for most of the match.
A little jump start half time, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
I think I'm similar boat to you there, Johnny. I think, there's loads of mitigation, absolutely, of course. But an away win in Europe is, as Ange said, is a big thing. Whatever team, if it was your first team out, it's a big thing, an away win in Europe. They're big results. That sets us up really nicely to get into the top 8 when we play Elfsborg next week. And not saying that they will roll over, but it should be. I don't think they've had a win in this campaign, Elfsborg, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But that gives us into the top 8, gives us that week off when the playoffs are happening, which is going to be a godsend. If that's not a carrot dangling there for the team, I don't know what is. But into tomorrow, I'm a similar sort of view with Johnny there. This could be, I think, what we've got to do is go at them like we did last night and not like we didn't do against Everton. If we have that lackluster start like we did against Everton, this could become a bit sticky, because if we go behind, I think we're in trouble. But they are conceding a huge amount of goals. They're conceding 2.2 goals a game. Yeah. So their defence is awful. They're a minus 25 goal difference. They're not scoring. They've had one clean sheet all season. So if you look at, if Richie, I mean, listen, we all know on the pod here my views on Richie, and he's not my number one. I'm not his number one fan, but he had a great game last night. I thought he put himself about. He looked sharp. His touch was good. He was closing down, and if he can do a bit of that tomorrow, then I think we've got a we've got a shout. And with the firepower up front, I think, we can cause them problems. And if as Johnny says, if we can go hard, fast, early, and if Madison, I would definitely play Madison tomorrow. We'll come on to the team, but you've got to play Madison against his old team.
100%.
Yeah, a little bit of a point to prove. Carry on from yesterday.
Yeah.
And if we get a good start, it could be good. And even with the depleted team we've got, we should be good enough to beat the 19th place team in the league, really, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we have to. The noise will get infinitely louder if we lose that. But
for sure.
We win against Leicester, then suddenly I think it buys Postecoglou time because, look, then he goes to Elfsborg, come to us, we get a point.
Yeah.
Everyone goes to that Liverpool game with a forgiving mentality that it's a huge game, that we'd love to win. We desperately want to win.
Is that a bit of a free hit, Jim, that Liverpool game in a way?
Well, this is what I'm kind of saying. I think it's only a free hit if we beat Leicester and we go through in Europe. Then people go, we're still in the other cups.
And when I say a free hit, it's like just go. It's just one of those where you've just got to go for it, whatever, rather than being too tactically astute there. Just go for it.
Probably.
Because no one expects us to win that. Nobody expects us to win that game. And if we can nick an early goal, if we can nick the first goal there, then it becomes really interesting.
Yeah, I agree. And we might actually have signed a couple of players by then and have Van der Ven and Romero back in, at least one of them starting. And
I think Romero will be back for that game for sure, won't he?
Yeah, and it's just the emotional lift. We saw it against Chelsea, right? When we went into the ground together and we went, oh my gosh, Romero and Van der Ven are both starting. Yes, we lost that game and they both got injured again. But for the first 30 minutes, we were all buzzing in the ground just from the psychological lift of having those names. But we're going down a Liverpool rabbit hole, and that's going to be a separate episode.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But I'm glad you brought up Madison because he was on the agenda for today. It's like, we've got to look at Vardy and say, oh gosh, he likes paying us. But they must be looking at Madison going, it's not who we want in the team. He had a good game in Europe, an overdue good performance. If he can carry that on, he's probably our biggest goal threat right now.
Lovely goal last night, wasn't it? Didn't he take it well?
Beautiful.
That lovely run, took it well, finished superbly.
Yeah.
That's his second. Who did he score that type of goal against this season again? I can't remember.
But Man City he got.
It was Man City, that's right. Yeah. That was a long ball over the top that he controlled just in the box, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, nice.
So, look, great to have him. It sounds like Spence has got a knock, so he won't be available. So it'll probably be Archie Gray at left wing back. What's left of Pedro Porro?
Quick question. Do you think he might consider Reggie at left back? Because he mentioned him in the presser. He mentioned that he was back fit.
True.
Definitely.
That's a good point. Actually, that's probably more likely.
Yeah.
That's probably more likely. I don't think he's that bad either.
I think he's
not great. You don't want to build a team around him. You don't want him in the Champions League lineup. But when you're against Leicester digging in, you just want a side that's cohesive. Bring in a natural left wing back that is good enough to play in the Premier League.
I wonder if he rests, if he gives Gray a rest. It looked like he said Gray got a little bit of a knock on his knee towards the end last night. Maybe Gray's on the bench.
Yeah, I think
it would be sensible to rest Archie Gray at this stage.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I don't think, to be honest, there's so few options in terms of the lineup.
Yeah.
When you're looking at what's available, it does kind of write itself.
It does.
There's really, you're going to have to put Kulu out on the right because we've really only got three midfielders. Well, if we're not counting Gray, who obviously is a midfielder, but this being the opportunity to give Gray a rest when you got Bentancur and Madison and Bergvall. What I'm going to be interested in is, I suppose, up front, because I think the defence, Porro, Jackson, Davies and Reggie for me is pretty much nailed on. Up front, when you're looking at is Moore going to start, is going to be a really interesting one. I'd really like him to. It was interesting what he said in the presser. I did hear that he was talking about what's being asked of the younger players, and you can't keep doing it, and they're gonna play like puppies who just like have boundless energy, and they are so enthusiastic. I guess Moore is a bit different from the other two, isn't he? Because he's sort of on his way back, and he's had a positive return. It's a big ask, I suppose, to start. But I mean, I think he's got the ability. It's just a matter: does he start with him? Does he start with Richarlison in the left, or does he start with Sonny in the left and have Richarlison in the middle? It kind of, and you've got Lancashire there as well. I don't see Lancashire starting. most likely you're going to have Sonny in the middle probably tomorrow or Sunday, and then it's going to be whether it's Richie or Moore. And I hope it's Moore, because it's either way. Richie definitely can't play the full game, whether he's starting or whether he's coming on with half an hour to go. It's going to be one or the other, or coming off.
I think he starts him though, Johnny. I think he'll start him to try and make the most of his energy at the start of the match, rather than coming on whilst others are tiring. I just get a feeling that he starts him tomorrow to make himself an absolute nuisance from the first goal. Yeah, I think so. I think he starts him through the middle.
Richie? I think
he does. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Sonny will be on the left. Moore will come on, and Sonny will move to the middle in the second half. I think that's where I think he'll go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, it's not like that decision is going to define our game by the sounds of it.
No.
We get into these arguments often. Oh, you should play Dorrington or whatever. That isn't going to define the game at this stage. No. You're really clutching at straws and voicing your frustrations at minor things at Ange if you're blaming those things. It's such limited options. But it was also a big game for Bentancur. He looked great.
He looked good. Looked really good.
Maybe it's elevated him. I don't know.
Yeah.
So he looked fantastic. And great to see he's healthy on a serious note. So yeah.
I just really think the more reflecting on yesterday, looking at some of the reaction from various different areas online, fans and other podcasters and stuff, I'm detecting, and I don't know if it's just me with rose-tinted spectacles or I'm obviously going with sort of confirmation bias, possibly, that there's a little bit more of an understanding or a little bit more of a recognition. Actually, like the situation we're in is literally unprecedented, pretty much for any team in the last how many years. And actually, to get a win is pretty amazing. To get a win away from home in Europe is pretty amazing. And to look at the players and just think about, there's so many people talking online about like these are guys like, the old phrases like warriors, and they're just like literally, as a fan, when you're up there on the terraces or in the stands, you just would give anything to have that jersey on and to be in their position. So when you see prima donnas who are a bit lackadaisical or they're lacking commitment, it's the most irritating thing in the world when they're all blooming shaking hands and cracking jokes with the opposition straight after the final whistle. That winds me up so much. And maybe that's just the reality of the modern game. But I don't think there's none of that happening. Like the Spurs players at the moment are fully committed. It really looks to me like they're fully behind the manager, and they're still doing what he's asking of them. And I think they're desperate for things to go well for Ange as well as just for the club.
Yeah, I think
as a fan, I'm really grateful for what pretty much all of our players are putting in at the moment, and they really are trying their best.
I think what sort of like hit home with me listening to Ange's pressers, especially the last two, where he's just been, do you realise what these players are going through right now? There is no training. There is no training. It is just recovery. We are just trying to get these players back to a point where we can get them back on the pitch to play at the highest level of professional football in the world. And it's every 3 days at the moment, and all we're doing is trying to get them ready for the next game. There is no training; it's all recovery.
Yeah. What more can we do? And as we've said it before, as fans, our one job in this situation is to be a part of this adversity and try help lift, not contribute to the adversity, but try be a small glimmer of support in a tough time. And we can only do that by saying, we're behind you, we understand your situation, and we're going to bring a good atmosphere, and we're going to, laugh about the bad stuff, but we're going to just help you dig in. And we're going to bring that whole atmosphere around the club that just makes it feel like we're behind you as part of this. And I hate to say it, but there's certain other club in North London, they've done a good job of that. They've built that culture of them and us, and it makes them completely insufferable to listen to it because they're so deluded from where they are in the sphere of football. But I think there's something we can take from that as fans, is to bring that positivity. And to be fair, in the ground, I know we talk about social media toxicity, in the ground, I think the support is mostly very strong. It's very supportive of the manager.
Yeah,
very supportive of the players.
And Ange mentioned it in the presser as well. He called out that the crowd is so important tomorrow, and it was almost a sort of plea, I think, to those that are going tomorrow to just really get behind the team, get behind the boys, give it everything, because the crowd. He said we feed off the crowd. The crowd drives extra energy into the team. So. Yeah, I think you're right, Jim. It's a great point, and we need to be behind them in the ground. And if we start well, we know what it's like when we start well. The crowd does get up for it, and the noise coming out of the south stand can be a bit special. So, fingers crossed. Me and Johnny will do our bit tomorrow, eh, Johnny?
Good work, guys.
Well, I don't know about you. Tomorrow I'll be looking at the weather forecast, checking in from a flight.
Yeah. Okay, fair point.
Absolutely. Si will be there. Probably having a little chit chat in the old goal line bar beforehand and getting ready for it. I'm looking forward to it, definitely.
Do you expect it to be similar to Hoffenheim in the sense that we'll start going out the blocks? Then you mentioned out the blocks earlier, Si, and then we'll naturally see energy levels fall off for the latter end of the first half and the second half without having the options to really freshen off the bench. So it's about trying to get 2 or 3 goals early so we can then, absorb that inevitable return pressure that's going to come when they see a team that's looking quite tired on its knees.
And I think that'll be their game plan, Jim. They will sit and try and soak us up in the first half. I think let us run our energy levels down, and then they will come out second half blazing. I betcha.
Yeah. So it's not going to be easy, but there's much to think we can get a result. What are you guys thinking in terms of score lines then for tomorrow? Anything clear on the top of the tongues there? Any lucid dreams last night?
Yeah, I honestly, I'm gonna have to predict a Tottenham win, of course, but I think it could be a real squeaky bum job. I think I'm gonna go with 3-2. But I really hope it's a bit more comfortable than that. But yeah, I think.
Who are your goal scorers, and how's this game unfolding, Johnny?
Oh yeah, sorry, doing it proper gym style. I think we will come out of the box, and I think we're gonna go take the lead early doors, and I'm gonna go with Matters. Let's give him a free kick. That actually counts this time.
Top right corner.
Top right corner. Yeah,
nice.
And but I reckon that we'll go behind. Before half time, and it's going to get prickly, it's going to get unpleasant, but then despite the whinging at half time, we're going to get an early goal in the second half.
Mikey Moore assist?
I think Sonny's going to score. I think he's going to keep the run going. Might be a Mikey Moore assist. Yeah, I don't know if they'll be on the pitch at the same time, but it could be. Yeah, I suppose. And then let's give Richie a goal. It'd be nice to give Richie a goal to wrap things up to take. So the equaliser in like 49 minutes, and then a late winner. Gonna go 92 minutes. 92 minutes.
Oh, please.
I'm sorry. It all feels too real.
We've seen this film before.
Live. If you when you're in the ground and you're 2-2, and it's the 91st, it's fine, because I always said the 92nd I can relax. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming.
But look, usually you're taking Uncle Ray back to the car, Jim.
I am normally taking my uncle back to the car by that point, yeah. And I just hear the groan, I hear the cheer of the away fans or the home fans, and I have to guess who'd scored.
Yeah.
What about you, Si?
So I think we'll score 3. I'll go with Johnny on the 3. I'm going to go with the 1 on the other side, but it's not going to be a comfortable 3-1.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I think we'll take the lead. I think Richie scores first. I'm gonna break some bread with Richie here and make my peace. So I think Richie scores first. But then we have another lapse of concentration just before half time, and it goes in at 1-1. We score fairly early in the second half, but then they come at us with a vengeance for the rest of the second half, and we hit them on the break with Sonny scoring the number 3. And I'll take Matters for a middle goal as well. I'll take that. Let's go free kick top corner. Yeah, let's do that. Why not? But he scores it in front of the south stand into the top corner in the second half.
Yeah, that would be a lot better.
So second half playing towards the south stand.
Yeah. So I think 3-1, but it's a tight, squeaky 3-1. It's not an easy win.
Okay. I'll go for 2-1 Spurs. I think we'll go 1-0 up, then we'll concede and it'll be 1-1. Vardy will hit the post from the 80th minute, but Mikey Moore's going to come on with 20 minutes to go 15 minutes to go. Everyone's going to be going, why didn't he come on sooner? And he's going to set up the winning goal I'm going to go for James Madison to see it off, and then
Madison,
him to
the winner.
Celebrate and absolutely infuriate the Leicester fans, and that caused a big hoo-ha as well.
It would be.
So there you go. We've gone for 3 wins. Look at that. It's been a while since we've been able to do that, but it's exciting. So
because Stu's not here for this dose of reality.
So reality, or has he adopted your mantle as Negative Nelly?
Negative Nelly.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
She ain't been around for a while, has she?
No, not for a long time. Since she should be, let's be honest. Yeah.
What we could do with that man behind you on your wall there, Johnny, you got Sandro's shirt.
Ledley.
Oh, is it Ledley? It's a Sandro behind you,
Well, I've got a bunch of... Sandro. Yeah,
Sandro what we could do with him in midfield in 6 right now.
The beast. I know.
The beast.
That's what we miss, isn't it? That physical presence. Just sticking no prisoners. I know.
And just another question before we finish off, guys. What needs to happen over the next 7 days as a minimum in the transfer window for you guys to go, okay, it was an acceptable January transfer window?
Well, we need 2 players, I'd say, as a minimum, really. I mean, we are so thin at the top now. Solanke is out for 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
And so that's that. And there are some really, especially those 2 cup games are absolutely massive. The Liverpool game is incredibly huge. To get to a final would be just amazing. And then to that final's 2 or 3 weeks later than it usually would be. It's in the middle of March because I'm very annoyingly supposed to be in Edinburgh that weekend.
March 16th.
I'm not even thinking of it. March 16th, yeah. But anyway, I'm not going to think too much about that. But by the time we get to that, then Solanke will be back. But there's so many to get there. Yeah. We've got Son is obviously pretty. You're not really going to be. He's not making the difference that he has done down the years. Despite that second goal yesterday in particular, which was superb and hopefully gives him a bit more confidence. But I think we definitely need somebody up top because there's Richarlison you can never depend on at all. I mean, I like him, but you just can't depend on him. You're just waiting. Anytime he goes down, you're just waiting for him to stay down. And then the left side of defence, the wing-back situation, there's the other obvious position where we're just really, really... There's nothing really there at the moment. We're depending on... Reggie is just out there training with teenagers at the start of the season or during the summer waiting to move to another club. And fair play to him. He's come in and he's been a proper pro about doing the best he can for the club. But it's obviously somewhere that we really need to strengthen. So for me, those 2 positions we really, really need. The other guys are supposed to be coming back. There's quite a few players coming back. The 2 big lads, the centre halves in the next week or 2, the likes of Bissouma and Spence are kind of... They're kind of doubts at the moment. They're sort of 50% fit, apparently. So they're, we're looking at a situation. Werner's back in 2 or 3 weeks, and Johnson's back in 3 weeks. It's really only Odobert that's going to be out for any serious length of time beyond that. So it's about... You hear some of these links. I don't know how much Brian Brobby is, and the Southampton fella is called Tyler Dibling.
Dibling. He's had a great season.
I'll quickly tell you all about him if you like.
But will you? Yeah, once I've wrapped up my little mini waffle. But so I think we don't want to be spending too much money. From the point, unless Ange is sure that the player he wants is somebody who would be wanting to get in on the summer anyway. Because that's obviously was the thing with Kinski. Talking about Garnacho, there's a lot of talk about Garnacho today. I don't get that. That would seem completely insane to me.
Bringing in a player who isn't good enough to play for a team in even worse form than us, despite not having the crisis injuries we have, and apparently having an attitude problem under a new manager.
Exactly. Yeah.
He looks great on Match of the Day. Great. You don't win a season based on 10-minute highlights of a game. So, just doesn't seem to make sense to me either. Although I can see why on paper people would say it, and similar to Rashford on loan. I could see why someone would say, yeah, he covers the wings, he adds a goal threat, it's a loan. But it just
Rashford
it
needs
feels
to
a bit
leave
short
England.
term.
Yeah.
So what's the story with Tyler Dibling then, Jim? You're obviously
Well,
an expert.
I was partly tongue in cheek, but I
Right.
just asked the wider group of people who know more about him than I guess all of us, who said he was extremely exciting, 18 years old, but only scored 2 goals this season, but much more the profile of winger we want. He takes his man on, he's quick, dribbly type winger who can play on the right. So he offers an alternative to Johnson, and he fits the young player profile. And he comes with a 4-week injury, so kind of just cap it off as
it fits in nicely. Fits in with our injury.
Can ask for any
timelines. Nice.
Someone said the injury happened after the first tweet went out that we were linked, which is just brilliant in itself. Classic. In so many ways, you've got to laugh.
Yeah, exactly. How soon after? 5 minutes.
Yeah. But maybe they said Spurs are interested, and then he just thought that would encourage.
And his hamstring snapped.
Yeah. I told you, there's someone up there, and there's guys who just watch on us, and a little bell rings when nice things are happening for Tottenham, and they send a thunderbolt down.
Yeah.
And it strikes off.
God is a goon.
quite literally, if you go back into history, I think in the 50s, our club captain got struck by lightning playing golf.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Just, you can't make up.
He was supposed to be unbelievable, that lad.
Yeah. Well, look, up the Spurs, guys. Roll on Sunday. We'll be back.
Come on, Tottenham.
I've got provisionally a Southampton podcast going to join us if we do sign Dibling. Give us an overview on that player. So subscribe if you want to hear about that. And appreciate all your support as always, everyone. We got tons more content. You'll see we're really ramping up at the moment. Shout out to Joe, who's been helping us with the designs of all our thumbnails and media stuff as well. And we're going to be doing an episode on just how big are Tottenham Hotspur with Ben White, who works in finance, to go over how big the club actually is versus its rivals, and also look at the brand value of the club, trophies, all those things, and come to the conclusion of how the size of the club we are. So looking forward to that. Up the Spurs, roll on Sunday.
Ring in, Robbie. Come on, Robbie.
Mr. Bobby.
And I still haven't ended the call. There you go.